I'm Tretha with Designs by Tretha, and today I'm going to show you how to make this easy checkbook cover. Here are some of the checkbook covers that I've made. This has a snap. It's just a little different. Once you learn how to make one, then you can learn how to do the extras, and it'll just kind of happen. This is just a simple one with some rickrack around on the inside of the seam. And then there's one with a button closure. But today we're just gonna make one that folds over, a very simple one, just like this one. So you're gonna need 4 pieces of fabric. You're gonna need one for the front, one for the lining, and then 2 for the pockets. What I do is I cut all of my pieces out. I just cut them 8 inches by 8 inches, and that makes it really simple. And then when I get ready to put it together, I cut the shorter pieces off so that it just makes it easier for me to remember what sizes they need to be. But the front, I'm going to use this for my front, and it needs to be 7 3/4 inches wide and 8 inches long. So the long part, we're gonna fold it like this. And you're gonna need to cut a piece of interfacing, just a little bit shorter on all 4 sides, and then cut the corners off. And that prevents bulk whenever you turn it and try to do your top stitching. It's less to sew through. And then let's kind of finger press that so that I have an idea of where I'm at whenever I put it together. And I usually mark the centers. So the lining, we're gonna have 8 inches by 7.5 inches. And the short, whenever you put it up there against it, it's gonna, the 8 inches, your front will go 8 inches this way, but your lining, I do mine 8 inches this way so that it doesn't go all the way to the edge, and so I make sure and catch it in my seam whenever I do my seams. And then you need 2 pieces for pockets, and these are also going to be 8 inches in this direction and 7 inches. So you fold them where they're going to be long, so that they overlap your front and your lining. And then when you fold them, I pressed mine with an iron. You're not gonna fold them evenly. You're gonna leave just a little edge like that, so that, again, to reduce bulk in your seam allowance. Okay, in the lining, I also cut the corners off, because that way you don't have a whole bunch of fabric that's all together and it doesn't make a ridge underneath. So anyway, again, to reduce bulk. And I like to serge my edges real quick here on the lining. Serge this, and this, just to keep it from coming out. Okay, I have the interfacing ironed onto the front so that it gives it some body. And this is how it's going to be put together. You're going to do the right sides together. You're going to put this one down, and you're going to line it up where the shorter edge is lined up with that, or somewhere near it. It does not have to be perfect. And this is why I did this 8 inches across, so it gives you a little room to work. If it's not wide enough, you might not catch it in your seam, and that won't do you any good. Okay, and I like to just sew. I'm gonna go to like 3.5 is the length on my machine, and just gonna baste that real super quick across. just for good measure, I'm going to go ahead and base this one the same. Then this is the lining, and I have already serged the raw edges that aren't going to be in the seams. I'm going to give it a quick baste. As you practice, you won't have to do as much bastings. You can get it to where it just goes together. You can put it all together, and I don't use pins because it moves everything around too much. This is one way to make sure that all your pieces stay put while you're doing your final seam. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but when I'm basting this down, the liner, I curve it this way just a little bit and kind of move it so that whenever you turn it, that there's not a lot of wrinkles and stuff inside. And if you make a couple of these, you'll understand what I'm talking about for sure. It makes the liner piece just a tad smaller than the other pieces between the seams. Okay, now I'm gonna flip it where I can see the front now. I can see the piece of fabric that's going to be the front of the checkbook cover, and that's when I want to do my main seam. I'm going to clip my corners. My strings. I don't like to have a lot of strings underneath there. Makes everything too bulky. Okay, then I'm going to turn it inside out. Now I'm going to iron this and starch it really good. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to top stitch. Okay, now I've ironed and starched, really heavily starched, so that this is like really flat and kind of stiff. And so I'm going to change my length to 3 for the top stitch. And a top stitch is just you're just gonna go along and reinforce this, and it's gonna make it just look finished on the front. And I don't really have a specific place that I start. I just look for, I have purple thread in my machine, so I look for a nice purple spot on my fabric. And inside seams, where you can't see, I use the back stitch. I just go backwards and then forwards again. But on the outside of something, I do the little lock stitch, and you'll see what I mean. It's just gonna stitch in one spot, like I think 6 stitches. And it's gonna lock in that stitch so I can clip it all the way to the fabric. And I don't have any little strings hanging out. And here I'm gonna take a little more time because I want it to be really straight. Always put your needle down and then turn. It makes a nice. Alright, and we're going to do that again. We're going to do the little lock stitch, and it's just going to lock it in. Then, whenever I clip, I can clip it all the way to the fabric, and I don't have strings hanging. And this is the finished checkbook cover. If you found this video helpful, press the like button below and subscribe to the channel for more videos. See ya.